love and positive vibes. And allow me to start my video by thanking our new subscribers and our returning subscribers. I always tell you, you are the reason we shoot these videos. You encourage us, you motivate us, you make us to keep going, knowing that there are people there that are supporting us, that are waiting for us to actually bring to them content. And therefore, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much once again, and God bless you. Today, I am shooting a video and a half because we are going to look at the history of the Jamaican people. And there have been conversation on whether to make some of the Jamaicans that have contributed a lot to Jamaica, to call them the national heroes. In other words, to bring them to the list of the national heroes. Those are none other than Bob Marley and Miss Rue. Miss Rue is actually, her real name was Louise Simon Bennett. So those were her names, and she was popularly known as Miss Rue. And if I may start with Bob Marley, there has been a conversation whether these two should be actually called national heroes. And I saw in the comment section people also mentioning Usain Bolt. And today, I want us to ask ourselves, do these people actually, or rather, should they be put in the list of the national heroes of Jamaica? And it is actually a conversation between me and you. I am going to highlight what the achievement of these people are, and I'm also going to highlight the achievement of the people we call the national heroes of Jamaica, so that we can actually weigh and see whether Bob Marley or Miss Rue should be called the national heroes of Jamaica, and their portraits to be put where the national heroes portraits or other statues have been placed. And also they enter the list of those that are buried in the National Heroes Park. Remember that most of the national heroes in Jamaica are actually buried in the National Heroes Park. They are recognized in Jamaica, and there is a celebration, the Heroes Day in Jamaica. And therefore, when these two enters the order, because it's a big issue, it's a big celebration, it's a big occasion whereby people are recognized as national heroes. And therefore, I'm going to start by highlighting the achievement of Bob Marley and the achievement of Miss Rue, and then I go back to what we call the national heroes of Jamaica, and we can actually rate and see whether we can actually call these people the national heroes. According to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, these people have qualified to be called the national icons. It is actually a lower title than the title of the national hero, because the title of the national hero is the highest order in Jamaica, and it is given to a person who must fulfill these conditions. He or she must be born in Jamaica, or at the time of his death or her death was residing in Jamaica and was actually a citizen of Jamaica and has done, or rather rendered, great services to let me use the word remarkable services to the people of Jamaica. So according to the order of the national hero title of Jamaica, somebody becomes a national hero if you are a Jamaican citizen, or at the time of their death, they were actually Jamaican citizens, and also they have achieved a lot in contributing to the society. They have rendered a lot that is recognized by people in the society, so that they can be given this title of the national hero. And having known that, let us come to the achievement of Miss Rue and Bob Marley. I'm going to start with Bob Marley because his achievement is known all over the world. We know Jamaica, by the way. We came to know Jamaica mostly because of the reggae music. Like, for example, I have always known Bob Marley, and I have always known the reggae music, and I have always known that the reggae music originated in Jamaica. And we actually believe, most of the people in Africa believe, that the reggae movement is so much in Jamaica. It's only recently I came to realize that only a few Rastafarian that follow the reggae movement are in Jamaica. We actually thought, before then, I thought that the whole lot of Jamaica consists of Rastafarian people, and we thought also that these people, they take weed, all of them. But we have come to know Jamaica better. We have known that the Rastafarian community actually covers 10% of Jamaica. And therefore, what I'm trying to say is that we have come to know Jamaica through reggae music, which was introduced by Bob Marley. Actually, most of the people everywhere, all over the world, they know Bob Marley. And they have come to know Jamaica through the reggae music and through Bob Marley. In other words, Bob Marley has played a very big role in putting Jamaica in the world map. He actually made Jamaica to be recognized, Jamaica to be known, the reggae music to be known, and most of the people to recognize Jamaica because of Bob Marley and the reggae music. Bob Marley also has contributed a lot in fighting against the oppressed through his music. He actually talked about, his music always talks about love, care, truth, hope to the people he speaks to. And this is a great contribution to society. Actually, his songs contributed a lot to some of the African countries attaining independence. And if I may say, he also contributed a lot to the peace that was in Jamaica during his time. I remember reading an article that talked about Bob Marley when there was actually an antagonism or a quarrel or a difference between two political parties that were actually great in Jamaica. And Bob Marley, in his presentation in a concert, called the two leaders of the two parties and made them to reconcile in front of the whole public. And because these leaders could not go against what Bob Marley had done, they went and reconciled and actually preached peace to people. And from that time henceforth, there was peace in Jamaica. So Bob Marley has done a lot. First of all, to make Jamaica popular, to make Jamaica be known, to make Jamaica up there in the map of the world, and to be recognized. The reggae music is recognized by the high and mighty and the raw and the medium in the society. It's only the other day I was talking about King Charles, talking about the reggae music and how he loves the reggae music. So the reggae music has been recognized by the mighty, the high, the medium, and the raw. And this has brought Jamaica on the map of the world, and everybody has come to appreciate and know Jamaica through the reggae music, through Bob Marley. We also know that the reggae music is played all over the world, preaching peace, preaching reconciliation, preaching truth, preaching hope, and all that. So he's a very, very great contributor, not only to Jamaica, but in the whole world. But what does it entail to be given the title of the national hero? So we have actually learned about Bob Marley and the achievement of Bob Marley through his music and what he has attained through his music. Let us go to Miss Rue. Miss Rue is actually a poet. He could say poetry or rather she was in poetry. She was also a folklorist. She was also a comedian. She was also a radio personality. And she was also called the mother of Jamaican culture. Through her poet and through her songs and through her work, she encouraged the culture of Jamaica and actually persuaded people to maintain their culture, to maintain their language of patois through her poetry and through her music. I think she was a singer if I'm not wrong. And therefore she contributed a lot in highlighting the culture of the people of Jamaica and preaching people to maintain this culture and to move on with the culture that they have learned from their ancestors through her poetry and through her music. So she has played a great role in Jamaica, and therefore even her, she has done a lot that has actually put Jamaica in the world map. People have come to know Jamaica because of Miss Rue and her poetry and her comedian nature and her personality and everything to do with her. And therefore, people are arguing these two have contributed a lot to making Jamaica shine in the world, to making Jamaica be known in the world, to making Jamaica what it is today, and therefore they should be recognized as the national hero. Before we conclude whether these two should actually be recognized as the national heroes of Jamaica, let us look at the real national heroes of Jamaica. People who have been recognized as the national heroes of Jamaica, and they are buried in the National Heroes Park, and they are also celebrated during the Heroes Day of Jamaica, and I believe during the Emancipation Day in Jamaica, because these are the people that went to an extent of sacrificing their life. I don't know whether we have such kind of people today. These people were ready to die for others. They were ready to sacrifice their life for others. They had given it all, including their lives, including leaving their families and dying for the people of Jamaica. And therefore, let me straight away go to these great men and women of substance. The people that have made Jamaica to be who they are today. They fought tirelessly. They fought until they lost their blood to make Jamaica free, to make Jamaica liberated, to make Jamaica self-independent, to make Jamaica recognize that they should not tolerate oppression, they should not tolerate people actually stepping on them. Because we know Jamaicans as people who cannot allow oppression, people who cannot allow to be sat on, people who cannot allow people to talk against their nation, against their people. This characteristic of Jamaicans was got from their DNA, from these great men and women who actually had a strong character, a strong belief, a strong will, a strong power to fight their enemy to the last blood. You can imagine. When I was reading about the story of these people, I was actually in a lot of admiration. I marveled at their courage. I marveled at their strength. I marveled at how far they could sacrifice to see others smile, to see others free, to see others liberated. These are great men that actually desires the title of the national hero and much more. The first one, without further ado, let me go to the list of these great men and women. The first one is Marcus Garvey. All of us will talk about Marcus Garvey. The whole world knows Marcus Garvey. There are buildings and streets written the name of Marcus Garvey. He was a selfless man, born in St. Anne's Parish in 1887. And this great man 1969. The same time with Paul Bogra. We are going to hear about Paul Bogra, but this title, they were given in 1969 the title of National Hero. What did he do to attain this title? He worked as a printer and a publisher, and he first published the paper he called The Watchman. I think this paper talked a lot about being a watchman to the people he loved so much, the people of Jamaica. And he was actually not talking about the people of Jamaica. He used to defend the black people, including us. He could fight against oppression of the black people. And he first published this paper that was called The Watchman. He was actually defending the rights of the black people and the injustice done to the black people. He was very, very vocal about defending the black people. He started the Universal Negro Improvement, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. This was a movement that was actually formed to fight for the rights of the black people. It was called UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA. And he formed this UNIA in Jamaica. It encouraged self-government for the black people worldwide. So the purpose of this, what? The purpose of this party, let me call it a party, was to actually encourage self-government for the black people worldwide. This guy was after the liberation of the black people, the independence of black people, the ruling, the self-rule, let me call it the self-rule of the black people. He started self-help economic projects. You can see he was a guy who had a vision and a mission for people. He wanted people to grow. He wanted people to develop. He wanted people to be self-independent when it comes to financial and even the mindset. And therefore he started these self-help economic projects and protested against racial discrimination. He was very vocal about the black people attaining independence in terms of economy, in terms of the independence to freedom to do what you want without any interference. That is who Marcus Garvey was. He went to USA. At first he was in Kingston, Jamaica, where he started UNIA, and then went to USA and he preached the gospel and the doctrine of freedom to the oppressed black people. I have told you this guy was very, very vocal on the independence of the black people. For this, he was actually imprisoned in the United States of America for talking against racial discrimination of the black people. He was imprisoned there. After the imprisonment, he went back to Jamaica and formed the People's Political Party in 1929. And this party was actually to spearhead the rights of the people, the independence of the people, the economic freedom of the people. However, he went back, I think, to United Kingdom or USA, I can't remember where, and he died there in 1944, 1940. He died in 1940 and was brought back in Jamaica and buried in the National Heroes Park in Kingston. He was recognized as a hero in Jamaica because he was very vocal about fighting for the oppressed, fighting for the people that were treated raw in in the society. So that is Marcus Garvey. The other hero is Nanny of the Maroons. I have talked about this great woman. I cannot imagine such a great woman of those days. Nanny was one of the slaves that were taken from West Africa to Jamaica. And she was actually vocal about fighting against oppression and slavery. The national hero is the most senior order, like I have said, in Jamaica, and it is given to somebody who deserves, or rather who have done a lot in the society. So if we may look at Nanny, we are going to see how much she did to be recognized as the national hero in Jamaica. She was a great military leader of the Maroon people. You can imagine a woman those days, and she had a say. She had to stand firm and fight for her people. That was not easy, because in those days, like here in Africa, women were not recognized as to say anything. They could not say anything in the society. And for this great woman to stand and actually be a military leader, that was a great mileage for Nanny. She was fighting against the British rule, and her first war was between 1720 to 1739. That is when she was actually fighting with the British people between 1720 and 1739. And the first war she fought was the Maroon War. The Maroon War took place between this period, 1720 to 1739. She had exceptionary leadership qualities. She was a small, weary woman with piercing eyes. She was very, very influential over the Maroon people and was actually considered to have some powers. What is it called? Obeah powers. People used to think that Nanny had powers, and I think she had, because according to the stories I've read, Nanny could actually fight the British army, and when they throw the bullets at the Maroon, the bullets could bounce back and go back to the British people. And it is also said there is a pot, I don't know whether it was a pot, that they could put along the route where the British army could pass, and as they were going, they could actually enter into that pot and boil to death. I don't know how true those are, but those are the stories that are talked about Nanny. And I believe that this might be true, because for this woman to fight against people who had sophisticated weapons and actually win the battle against them, then she had some powers. And she fought the British people tirelessly until she actually was killed in the battle. And she died fighting the British people, but after her death, several treaties were signed to actually free the people of Jamaica from slavery. So she contributed a lot to make the people of Jamaica free from slavery. She fought tirelessly. She could actually use magic to fight the British people, and she could engage them in guerrilla war, and those guerrilla wars made the British people not to penetrate the forest where the Maroon people were hiding. She is recognized as a national hero in Jamaica, and I'm sure she was maybe buried in the National Heroes Park. She was given the title of the national hero in 1982. The other hero is Paul Bogra, born in Jamaica in 1822. He was actually a Baptist deacon. He was a believer, and he was a supporter of George William Gordon. Poverty and injustice in the society and lack of public confidence in the people led Bogra to actually fight the colonial masters. She actually started a fight against the colonial masters, and she led a protest in March to the Morant Bay. Actually, this protest is called the Morant Bay War. I believe that. And therefore, he led this war to fight against those things like poverty, injustice in the society, and lack of public confidence. And therefore, she led this war, the Morant Bay War, and was caught on October 11th, 1865, and was actually found guilty and was convicted to hanging. He was actually hanged and died in 1865. So this man fought the British people tirelessly. Is it the British people? Yeah, the colonial masters. He fought them tirelessly until he lost his life through hanging. These are people that declare, we better die, we better lose our lives, we better face anything rather than bow to these masters to remain slavery. Actually, I'm going to talk about Sharp, who said that I better die than to remain a slave. And he fought tirelessly, and he was actually a Baptist. I think the church those days was very, very strong in actually rebuking oppression, rebuking injustice. So we find Sharp, who was also vocal about injustice, oppression, and he declared, I better die through a gallows than to be a slave. And they died as brave men, supporting the people they loved, fighting against injustice, fighting against oppression, fighting against all that, until they were hanged to death. The other person was George William Gordon, born to a slave mother and a printer, a father, who was an attorney to several sugar estates in Jamaica. Remember that during those days, the sugar estates were very large, and the colonial masters used to hire slaves, or rather to bring slaves, so that they can work on those sugar plantations. And therefore, William's dad was one of those people that were working in the sugar plantations. He fought for freedom of the people of Jamaica and actually subdivided his land and sold it very cheaply to Jamaican people, and he actually encouraged them to plant, and he could actually look for the market for their produce so that the people can be independent financially. He led the Morant Bay Rebellion. I think this is where we have also seen the Morant Bay War with Bogra. Remember that Bogra was actually an admirer of George William. So George William led this Morant Bay Rebellion and was captured and sentenced to death. The same 1865. So I believe that they were caught with Bogra and they were sentenced to hanging together with Bogra. And therefore they died as strong men. They died fighting for freedom. They died fighting for equality. They died fighting for justice. These are great men and women. William was recognized as a national hero in 1969. These people, when I read about their story, there is no doubt that they should be respected. They should be recognized as the national heroes. They should be given the respect they deserve, because they actually sacrificed their lives to see the people of Jamaica free, to see the people of Jamaica liberated, to see justice prevailing. And therefore, they deserve the title of the national hero. Now my question again. There have been a very hot debate on whether Bob Marley and Miss Rue should actually be called the national heroes. Having heard the story about these national heroes and the achievement of Bob Marley and Miss Rue, which is actually great, I want you to come to the comment section and tell us, should Miss Rue and Bob Marley be recognized as the national heroes in Jamaica, have they reached? I don't know whether there is what you should actually have achieved to be called a national hero. But I am asking you, are these people, should they be called national heroes or national icons? It is for you now. The ball is on your side. You tell us whether these people should be national heroes, having heard about the national heroes in Jamaica and their contribution to the people of Jamaica, their sacrifice to the people of Jamaica, and having heard about the contribution of Marley and Miss Ru and their great sacrifice to put Jamaica in the map, could they be called national heroes? And today's video will end there, and we really appreciate these great men and women. We salute them. They have done a great job. They sacrificed to be who we are today. Shalom. See you during the next video. Bye-bye and God bless.